Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to The Alchemist and the Oracle, a space where we engage in spiritualized conversations that deepen understanding, inspire transformation, and spark meaningful dialogue about life's most profound truths. I am Nicole Love, the Oracle, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Warrioress Ardeshir A'ren, the Alchemist. Welcome to The Alchemist and Oracle. Welcome to our channel. So today we are going to get in conversation about loneliness. So why this topic now, you may be asking, because it's like people talk about that all the time. Why are we talking about this now?
Well, it seemed to have came into the room a couple of times, and you know how our teacher and mentor says it was in the chairs in the room. So it comes up a couple of times for a lot of us because of how we look at it, and I think we misunderstand what loneliness is versus solitude, for example. But it came up in one of the little, it's not an app, I don't have the app, but came up about telling me about, you're not alone. And then it came up yesterday in conversation in a group I meet with on Mondays around meaningful conversations all around spirituality. And since we're spiritual people, it makes sense. And in one of the guys that I hadn't seen before brought it up. And so I'm going in my mind, I'm going, aha, okay. So this is confirmation of needing to speak about this, clarifying what it is and looking at how it is truly affecting people because he brought it up. And then it came up for me. And then sometimes we know that the ego wants to say this when it's very much not true. So we have to have the understanding of what that is, what it means, and how it affects you. And of course, we've been in a time with our conversations prior here before, touching bases that you brought up hits on a lot of things too, especially if the last, what is it? Man, time go by really fast. After the
The current
last, what,
decade,
6 years,
current
you
decade that
know,
we're in. Yeah. Well, let
well,
me
that
ask you
too,
this. So wait. You said, can you repeat what you said about like the ego and loneliness again?
the ego, for example, there's times where, I know that I have a mission to do here, and sometimes it requires me not to be outside, right? It requires me to be doing the creative work that I need to do. And someone say, oh, you're lonely, or I should be doing this, that, and the other, or and it also tells us that we need to be in relationships, which is not necessarily true, depending on what this journey is in the moment. And so we look into human beings to satisfy that we're not alone. And even though you can still be in a relationship and still feel alone. So,
Yes.
just keeping it real.
Mm.
So that has come up. And so with the time and, what you share about the last 6 years, Rona, which I think you hit on some good points that you'll bring up here, hit the key, but there's a lot of people feeling this way. And it's come up in conversation. So when I do go out, because, I have to, we are, us being at the paddock, or that I have to decompress, and there's a reason for everything. And also we have to be on the same wavelength or frequency. And another woman who I was on the same wavelength, because I like that. And she brought up that she chose to, you know, cut off certain, people whose vibrations were often low and things of that nature. And sometimes we have to do that, and that makes us feel some kind of way as well. Because sometimes when we have to make shifts, um, sometimes it can make us feel lonely, especially when it comes to people and making shifts and having to change and not be around a lot of negativity or low vibrational beings. No heat, no judgment. It's just the truth of the matter. And so, you have to do what's best for you in the moment when it comes to your energy, when it comes to attracting frequency. It's just like relationships. We jump into them, but is that person on the same frequency or vibrational energy that you're on so you can have the most loving, understanding, fourth relationship? Because there are some people who feel that if you need your quiet time, that it has something to do with them, don't have crap to do with you. It has to do with that individual person. And if you could understand how it is to be with yourself and understand the importance of that connection, then you wouldn't feel dismissed. It's just like the song says, what's our girl's song say? Don't take it personally. I need to be, oh my God, it's on
Oh, don't take it
Spotify song.
personal,
Yeah,
Monica.
don't take it personal. Yep, that's her. And so yeah, and so I mean, her lyrics are just that. Just need that. You just need that time. Everybody needs that. And you know, I also brought up the thing about missing someone, being away, going out if you have your crew or go out or do something. And sometimes we just need to do that. And this whole thing that I like is about missing you, having that time away. You go kick it with your people, kick it with your people, and we come back together and we have that freedom to explore and then come back together, um, loving each other. It's just like going out of town on business or something like that in your relationship. And it's just things that you have to do. And then coming back, talking, missing you. And now we have the communications that we didn't have many, many years ago, to stay in contact. But sometimes
Yeah.
we need that, we need that getaway. Each of us need that. And to take it personal is just crazy because that means there's something within you that for lack of another better word, it is what it is, healed. It's not healed or needs to be looked at in a certain degree. And then we look at, what transpired with the alienation of us with the coronavirus that you brought up, which I liked what you said about, and you get more into it, that brought about a different type of loneliness. And when we looked at the kids, it took them away from, their social interaction with each other. And ours was a lot stronger growing up because we walked to school, we did this. It was a little bit safer environment depending on where you were, and we walked in groups. We walked in groups to kick somebody's behind.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
some of the
saying that's what we
people
were
in the
told.
group were not safe for the whole group either. I think it just depends.
Okay,
I think
yeah, it
everyone
does.
has a different experience.
Yes, I agree.
So, because there are some kids now that have a lot more freedom than like that I feel is probably more comparable to like how we grew up. It's not to the mass amount comparatively so, but you still have latchkey kids.
I guess it depends on the neighborhood. It depends on the neighborhood that you're in, because when you look at the village that we had, it was a little different. And at the time, we didn't call it a village. I think that came up a little bit
See, you
later
had
down
a
the
village.
line.
I didn't really have like my neighborhood growing up. It was like, no, you walk home, you go into the house, and you do not come out. Come out the house. No,
Oh,
because no, there was people around that I personally did not want to be around. And I was perfectly happy being in my house. And if I saw them, I would
mhm.
go the long way around to get home.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
But
Yeah, there were some people I did that too with too, but
yeah. But
yeah,
the thing
that's a
about
fact.
loneliness is I don't think this is a new occurrence because it's also because something that kind of popped up too is I don't know if you've heard this, but the concept of how when you go through a spiritual awakening, it's the most lonely experience that you can go through. And the
Ooh,
loneliness part of it is part of the process. Um, that seemed to hit you. How did that hit you? Where did it land when I said that for you? Can
because it's
you
happening
resonate with
now.
that?
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing, is that like the ego come up alone, but because of what I'm doing, because of doing this huge inner work to even be able to come here, you know, and speak, and the thing that we've been called to do is that, and it is lonely for the reason why it came up so many other times, and I had to shuck it. And then sometimes you're like, I do feel down, I should be this, get in a relationship. People, oh, why you ain't in a relationship? Oh, baby, it ain't because I couldn't be. Oh, trust me. Hey, I
He's
understand that I
he's
ain't
that good,
forcing
okay,
nothing no
ladies
more.
and
So,
gentlemen,
yo,
more so ladies.
see, 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 see you.
You started it.
Well,
I just
well, finished it. Yeah, okay,
walked
I could.
alongside of it with you.
Hey, I ain't got nothing to say about that. It is what it is. Keep it real. Truth be the truth. There ain't no shame in my game. God made me good, baby. So, I mean, I mean, hey. So, and that's for all y'all to stand in, stand
Yeah.
in it.
Be who
Stand
you
in it.
are. Honor who you are. Don't run away from it. You
Right.
know,
Right.
when
And
I
that can
think,
be loneliness in and of itself too. Not honoring.
yeah, because then you're not being yourself. So essentially,
Oh God.
you would be lonely because you're not with who you really are. So you you essentially push yourself out and instantly become lonely because you've left yourself behind. So it's going to
Oh
be
God,
lonely.
girl.
It's
Too many,
lonely
too
out
many
there.
years.
But the thing about it is like it's just part of your journey and part of your process. And I think I realize the power of loneliness when you're going through like a spiritual awakening, which is like I look at it as coming back home, remembering that you've always like welcome home. You've been with yourself the entire time. Even
Yeah.
the concept of like you leave yourself behind, that's not even the fullness, like that statement is
Mm.
not like you can't leave yourself. You're always with yourself. And this idea that you leave yourself behind, that's not true in the spiritual and even the physical sense.
Mm-hmm.
We can tell ourselves, oh, I'm leaving myself behind, but guess what? Still there. You could pretend like it's not there. It's just it. And so this idea of the loneliness piece when you're going through this, like coming back home, I realized for me, specifically through my experience, I needed to be by myself because the
Mm-hmm.
noise
Mm-hmm.
around
Mm-hmm.
was what was leading me astray. It was the distractions that were taking me away from being comfortable with myself,
Mm-hmm.
being firm in myself, taking that time to be with myself. And you have to, I think it's important to be what you're saying is the distinction between loneliness and solitude. Like being in solitude with yourself, it allows you to connect with you, remember who you are, and get more comfortable in like, yeah, it's good. I like that part of me. I love myself. I love every part of
That.
who I am because
That.
you start to realize that there's innately nothing wrong with you on a spiritual
That
level.
part. Yeah.
And maybe you've had experiences that you attach to in whatever way that has been a
It's how
suffering
we've
of
been.
your own, is kind of like what you always
Yes.
talk about, like with the
Yeah.
ego work. So I think
Yeah.
loneliness is serving as well. So for me, it's been a gift
Yes.
of
Yes.
quieting the noise and the chaos and mainly the distractions.
Yeah, but we've been indoctrinated. So here I have the definition just for people so they understand. loneliness and what it is. Loneliness is a feeling of disconnection, abandonment, or emptiness. Solitude
Ooh,
is, yeah,
wait. Let's lean into
yeah,
that. Loneliness
yeah.
is okay. Say the words again. Loneliness is
Disconnection, abandonment, or
disconnection.
emptiness.
Disconnection.
Hmm.
How do you feel?
It does.
How do you
I like
feel
to,
this
yeah.
relates to like a spiritual awakening? Like, because I feel like that kind of hits the things, the levels that you go through a spiritual awakening, like the disconnection piece. You realize what?
That you come into, you leave the mask and the falseness behind. Um, you disconnect. So, in one of my pieces, I'm talking in this in this process is what's the word I use? Is undomesticating myself from the world that who said that I needed to be something other than the true being or essence that I am, regardless to whatever they say from how I should be as a female, how I should do things that just didn't line up with my true essence. Now I like the word essence. Or my true beingness, how I should walk in this world other than the authentic nature that I am, to to release the lies, to release the lies. And then if I go back, and I still have to go back to childhood and look at when I was a little child, how I felt, because the nature essence of us is shown then. And then I look at myself as an adult, and still when I'm around kids or no, I have to sometimes take a back seat and make sure I'm not doing the same thing that was done to me,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and understand the child needs to be a child before they get, because we have allowed adulting to become so. 18 is not an adult in my. What do you know at 18? And how can you support yourself at 18? If you're
Let me
still
ask
being at
you
home and
this.
still trying to
Do you
discover that, except for some kids who've been supported by their parents who have taken their giftedness and had them create some, monetary abundance with it. But in the process of doing that, what have they been taught to do that? And I'm using the example of one of the kids that was being mentored by oh Lord, now I can't even say his name, but the creator of Fubu and all that, and the young guy with the bow ties. Um, and it was just amazing. And there's some other young kids like that. So you look at, honoring a certain part of you where you're not alone when you're talking about getting to this height. And it is lonely up here. I think even the success of my mom's mom, and I'm looking about how long she felt, because I'm definitely I'm definitely the essence of most of my ancestors, but because of my proximity with her, um, and when I was around her, and then even with the house, there was no TV. The only TV that was in the house was in her room. Other than that, it was just a peacefulness, a quietness, and then she'd be cooking and doing that. Then there was the piano, and I just got to be able to connect. And she was someone um, who I could talk to when I was frustrated. I was only frustrated by one of my parents, but um, and it just is what it was. So in this hiding, like I said, the ego come, and then I feel alone, then we get sad. And I don't like being sad, but I understand that sadness is not a bad thing. But as long as you just sit in, it's like, what's making you sad? What is it, and how do you honor that, and then come back and like, that's not it. It's gonna be all right. It's okay. You are doing something that most people won't do, and to sit in quiet. And even though I don't really sit still at my desk a lot, I realize that sometimes my meditation is when I'm walking around, or I'm in the house, in the quiet, no TV, no nothing, just doing me and how I'm thinking. Because I had been told that I was probably a walking praying person
Yes,
or
that's what I
something
was
like
thinking.
that.
They literally have like what's called walking meditation. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about that. Like he does these
Mm,
walking meditations worldwide where people around the world
interesting.
are walking. So I think that's the state that you really want to get into because that allows you to integrate in the human experience and have that balance of remembering that you're a being having in a human experience that's playing out right now. So I think walking meditation is is the embodied practice versus like sitting in meditation. I think sitting in meditation it has a completely different purpose. I think that is more connected, like allowing your being to guide you to soothe your humanness. And I feel like walking meditation is like, okay, we're in the human experience here, right? You're walking in the matrix and you're in that meditative state, which means you're really connected to your beingness and allowing
Hmm.
that to guide your steps essentially. So it makes
Yeah,
sense, like for you, like given your
yeah, I can't
energy,
sit
like
still.
you
Yeah.
you want to be because you're meant to really be in the world. And I think so many people have so like if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I like sitting in meditation is the hardest thing for me to ever do. Really explore walking meditation. Like Joe Dispenza, he has them. Like he talks about the benefits of them, and I think he has if I can remember, I'll link it down below. I think he actually takes you through like what a walking meditation looks like, and he talks about the science of it for those that like science and what have you.
Word.
So, but I think because you are so and because you're earth energy, right? So you really
Yes.
ground into the world comparatively to someone who like for me I'm a water sign, so I'm like, oh, tell me how feelings matter, we need to feel our feelings, and you're just like, what? No, we need tangible real life applications. Like the
Word.
building is on fire, we don't have time to feel your feelings about the building on fire, right? But it
That's
shows
right.
you too the need for both of those and honoring the timing of that. Like the building is on fire. Let's focus on getting the fire done. And then tag, guess what? We get to be sad about the building is on fire. You put the fire out, and I deal with people's feelings about the fire.
Word. Yeah.
And you rebuild
Yeah.
afterwards. You're the
Yeah.
rebuilder.
I mean, it's just like driving. So people are like driving by yourself or have somebody. I mean, I just can't wait. I mean, I have done my due diligence. I'm
Likes to
not
be in
where
the
I
world, people.
desire to be, but I thank God that I'm not where I used to be. It's a Joyce Meyer quote. I like it. It's true. I keep
Hmm.
elevating, moving it. But when I'm in the car driving on the interstate, there's such a freedom and a peace, and there's no way I'm alone there. It's either I turn the music off and just get into the highway or look around. So now I used to drive at night a lot because I just like to cut some turf. Don't like a whole bunch of traffic. Don't like nobody holding me up in the passing lane. I just like put on cruise control and I like to roll. And so now I'm wanting to drive more in the daytime so I can see more. I still need to probably check out some spots to stop at. Not used to stopping. I'm used to wanting to get to where I want to go and then do
Hmm.
whatever once I get there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
What? That's a novel concept.
And so stopping and just kind of embracing and just like stopping at rest stops and talking to people. And we find out how much we are so much alike and that we're really not alone. There's so much that we have in common. So when you're at the house, people are like, people have a problem. I'm like, just like I said earlier, don't have to repeat it. Ain't that I am all alone with people, but I have my own parties. So when I said and told somebody I was having a party, like by yourself, I'm like, I said, not really. my music, my connecting with me, my moves, regardless to injuries, damage, all these things, is that you have to keep doing it despite it. And as you know, I said, old is a state of mind. And so the youthfulness will keep you from feeling that way, from and connecting with music. Now, I always connected with it, but I'm more hearing more lyrics than I ever had in my life. And I don't know this whole connection with my mother crossing.
Flag going
Eh,
for
eh, and then there's some lyrics I don't want to hear, but I'm picking up on more lyrics because I
it.
am a music person. Sound move me. It doesn't really have to have words. And
Mm.
so if you can connect with that part, blast the music on your stereo or whatever, the little speaker you have, the blast, and move and dance and connect with yourself, then there is nothing to feel lonely, disconnected, or abandoned about. And doing the work, as you said, to elevate us, doing that work within is clearing. Even, going back to childhood, clearing. I have certain stuff to come up that, that has been shared that you're aware of, that you still know it and you let it go, but I've chosen not to allow it, not to, even though it had affected my life, but not to allow it to hinder it in a way that I couldn't serve in the way that I served in a public serving capacity, to understand, to connect. Because somebody had asked me in one of the meetings, is how you connected, or how did you know um how to connect with people in that way. I had to look at my own self and humanness, and we all make mistakes, but I don't think some of the mistakes we made need to um what's the word I want to use? Need to bind us, or we need to be um um I guess jailed. Let me just say it. We don't need to be um we need the service or the help that we need to release whatever has been done to us. A lot of us hold it in such a way that it's a hindrance, and we feel a certain way about it, you know, or or we let in the world say what it means. If you're not in a relationship, or you're not with somebody, something wrong with you. No, something wrong with you. No, that is not the case by any means. And people choose whatever they need in the moment to serve their best and highest and greatest good. And you have to know when you're elevating, when you're rising higher, when you're going to the spiritual awakening. And the reason why you said is because I know what it feels like. And I can't allow myself to be deceived by allowing my ego to tell me anything other than what is truly going on in the moment. So it's not that it's not going to be there because it's a protective nature, but it's about controlling your narrative of the ego.
What just dropped into me, and maybe we can go through them, is I feel like the ego leans into the loneliness
Mm-hmm.
and the soul leans into the solitude. So I know you were
Yes.
going through the definitions. So you said disconnection as one, and you were sharing the story about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Makes you feel abandoned, and then you feel empty for no
abandoned. So
reason.
let's
And
talk
it,
about
mm,
abandoned. How have
mm,
how have you felt? Well, we'll go to abandoned. I'll share my abandoned story. I think that I do want to say this about the disconnection piece. Is
please.
I've come to realize that we're not disconnected. It's the ego. Since I'm like, oh, loneliness is like the ego's language,
Mm-hmm.
and it's this disconnection, this idea that we could ever disconnect from our soul, that there's something we need to remember. That's not
Mm-hmm.
true. It's just a clouded judgment. There's distractions that we are choosing to look at for whatever reason that kind of confirm that egoic thought of, because the brain will confirm what it is that you
Mm-hmm.
think. So, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
disconnected, I'm disconnected, I'm disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of lean into that, and that's not true. How can you
Right, right.
disconnect from your heartbeat?
Well, that right there. Yeah,
How, like,
yeah.
because it's just like there's certain functionalities that exist in our body that we can never disconnect from on a soul level. And I know some people are like, well, when your heartbeat stops, you disconnect it. No, the heartbeat comes with the soul. So the heartbeat goes with the soul. The soul leaves the body. So it never
Yes,
was
that right
about the
there.
body. It's never about the body. But the ego will tell you it is about the body. But it's not even, the ego will look for the confirmation of that is about the body, because the world tells us to look for things outside ourselves, to disconnect from our power, which is source, or that energy, that unconditional source energy that powers our life, that creates the miracles, that created everything that is in existence, that we get to experience on all levels. So that's my disconnection feedback. So then you talked about abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
On a spiritual, how have you felt abandoned during, I think for me, when I've gone through my spiritual awakening, abandonment came up to look at how I experienced that as a child, and how from that
Mm-hmm.
experience, I expected that from every, like, the narrative that I would tell myself was like, you can't depend on a man.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah,
leave
yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah.
Every man
Yeah,
is
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
leave
yeah.
me. And I was and kind of going back to what I was just saying about how the brain will confirm that thought, and so you'll start to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
confirm it. And so I was having those experiences because I was expecting them to happen.
Yeah,
And
that vibration and frequency.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
really had to look at where that came from, and why I was feeling that. And then it like went down this rabbit hole of the abandonment that I had with my dad, and then like sitting with like, well, why would he
Mm-hmm.
respond to me in that way? And then it led down a deeper rabbit hole of looking at him as his human self, and like, okay, asking the question of like, what was his childhood like? How is he parenting from that frame and that point of perspective? It's a journey, though. This is a journey. I will say that. It's not something like, oh, we do here, do. No, it's not linear. It's ever unfolding. And and so I really did feel a sense of abandonment. And what I realized when we were going through the spiritual study sanctuary, the first round with Iyanla Van Zant, she was talking about the Father. She was talking about God. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I had this revelation of like, oh my God, I've done the thing with the relationship with God that I've done with my father. I have abandoned that relationship with God because I looked at God as someone that I couldn't depend on. That
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there. Like all the different
I remember that. Yeah.
rationales. And I was just like, oh,
She was talking about, yeah.
I've done that. I was like, I actively have abandoned that relationship, that connection. And what I then realized is that that's not even really true, because he's never left me. And I think that was the part that just cracked me open, of like, I was just weeping on the other side. I don't even remember anything she said after that. I was just crying the rest of that session,
Mm.
because just the reminder of like, you chose to not remember that I'm here with you, and that's not even true. I've always been with you. And just kind of like the things just kind of came through my mind, like, oh, he was here there, he was here there, he's still with me now. That provided me such a sense of comfort, and remembering that
Yeah.
I'm never lonely on that level, on a soul level.
Yeah, that's what I said. Go within. If you're going within and give yourself the opportunity to connect with the true nature of who you
Mm,
are. That's where you find creator, source,
yeah, yeah.
God,
So that's how I
universe.
experience abandonment and kind of like process through it through
Same here.
my see, very similar. I feel like
Because
a
see,
lot of people can relate.
even though, and I'm thankful that my father is more present now. Spiritually, is that he realized what was, and even though he was kind of present, but kind of not because of his um extracurricular activities, golf, fishing, hanging out with the boys, things of that nature, and being at the house. But he's also at a point where obviously the males didn't think that they needed to be a significant emotional part to their
Mm,
children and just leaving the mothers to do that. And then she has a whole bunch of other stuff, and some of them couldn't be there fully that except for the providing part. It has to be their mother, get your homework done, taught you how to clean, feed you, make sure that you're well. And when you're sick, when a child is sick, a mother is distraught, still is distraught when their child is not well. And a lot of burden was put on them, more than any man could really realize. The providing is one thing, but you still need to be emotionally there. I see that more happening and I'm so glad to see
yeah.
that
I know, isn't
with
it
dads and
beautiful to
father. Yeah,
see how
oh
it's
my God.
evolved? Oh, that touches my heart. Touches my
Yeah,
heart.
because I seen at the gym because my dad didn't know how hard I worked and how hard I worked at playing the sports that I played, especially softball, because that shit I took to another level. And some of the women that I played with as well, they get to see this and they know who they are. Some of them we've lost and have crossed at a very, very, very young age. And the other stuff that I was there to understand, what I put, it was just like going out of town. I had an opportunity to do this tournament. And you want to feel this loneliness is like, I'm going somewhere that I don't mind going, but I need to be here so I can support my team. So going out of town, I really wasn't feeling it. I rebelled a little when I got there, but
Of course you did.
but but it takes a lot of me because I was really, really, follow the rules kind of girl. But um
Were you
and
really?
yeah, kind of. I have my moments though. I have my moments.
That's where my question, my mind goes like, how is it for you following rules that just were like a bit conflicting with
Oh
like
my
your soul
God.
expression? Like my
I'm
mind
trying
just
not to
goes
get in
there.
trouble now because I'm more of a rebel and I don't want to get in trouble now.
You
It's too
are
hard to
very
get in trouble.
rebellious. What do you mean you're trying not to get in trouble now?
I am trying not to get in trouble now. My initials, I had
Maybe
somebody
you're
say,
making up for it for like earlier years
that's
where
what,
you were trying to
yeah,
go along to get along,
yeah,
as they say.
yeah.
Now you're
It's
like,
just a
forget this.
pretend.
I'm rebelling.
That's
Good.
pretty much it.
I get
I mean,
excited for rebels. I'm like, yes, do it. Burn the building down.
me and my mama like them. There's people more rebel. But for the good, I don't know. I was trying to understand what good trouble actually, good trouble.
Yeah, that
And
saying.
then my initials, somebody brought this up many, many moons ago with my initials. And then I lose my last name, my original given name, which is Troublemaker. So, but I ain't really never been all that though, really. I've had my moments and you take me to it because you got to take me above that red level. But loneliness is like you can go somewhere and when you know you want to be somewhere else, you can really feel alone. I mean,
Yeah. That had to be lonely for you to assume the role of,
and then
like
being firstborn too. Yeah.
yeah. It's so curious how we give ourselves these roles where they give us roles and then we're like, okay, this is my role. And you're like looking at the
I
paper
think my
like,
soul took on that role, and it's really weird but then you know what? No, it was both. it was both through the parent, and then me just standing in that role as if,
Because you cared about your sibling. You cared about the people around you because you are such a caring soul. And
yes, thank you.
you're very self-sacrificing.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to be less that now because it's just time to live the best life and just do what my soul desire without the interference of fear of failing and fear
Yeah.
that I will maintain the success that I create or things of that nature, the things that I talked about on IG with a few more to elaborate on, like overworking, which people seem to be very good at doing, and understanding that rest is best. Rest is not weak. Rest is required. It's
Rest is
required. We
rebellion. I've
feel
been
it.
seeing that a lot. Rest is rebellion. I think for us
That's bull
specifically,
crap.
it is a form of rebellion. So I looked up your human design type. I probably didn't tell you this, but we're both projectors, and projectors need rest. We need rest.
Mm,
Like working 9 to 5 just doesn't work for us. Which I'm sure you probably can relate. Like there's a
figure
chunk
that
in
out.
time in the day for me where like it's like 4 hours. I'm good after that. No, that's why I don't schedule business calls in the evening time. I don't do work calls in the evening time because rest is needed. And but it's looked as like, what are you doing? Like you have other people that will look at you like, oh, you're just lazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, don't get it
Mm-hmm.
twisted. I am very productive. And because my Virgo-ness will kick in and be like, I will have a project plan, I will have a milestone map out and like the dates, and I have a plan and I work my plan. But for
Yeah.
us, rest is really rebellion. And then society, from a society standpoint, it's so rebellious to be like, no, I don't want to work
Yeah, I'll be talking about
a
it. Yeah.
5 day work week. Now that's like part of the conversation that a lot of people are having. Like, oh,
Yeah.
4 day work week and flexible work time, an environment that allows more like relaxation and play.
Well, there's certain places overseas just I don't know if this is really off kilter. I mean, but when you look at, cause see, there's something that talks about longevity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And longevity, if we were alone, or you were in the world by yourself, you're not gonna survive very long, right? So they talk about community in such a way, but you have to be connected to community that moves you, uplifts you,
Yeah.
and your
That
very
honors you.
self. Yeah,
Yeah.
the very soul of who you are. And they talk about blue zones and the longevity and the things that involve that. Community is one of them, and also honoring self. Rest is something I still fight, and it's like it's just crazy to feel that that's anything other than what's required for you. Now we have one of our warriors I know, whether she sees us or not, I don't know, that's very much into napping. But then I guess if you get up at buku hours in the morning
I
and
like how
do
you
this,
said that.
but
Very much into nap.
oh my God, I just haven't figured that out. But like I tell you, I don't feel like I have
You just said
12.
rest is rebellion. You don't
Yeah,
understand
we
that like
did.
napping is too much. That's like, no, it's too much rest for you.
Well, if I'm gonna go to sleep, I'm gonna be to sleep, and then if I wake up, I'm gonna be up. So if I take
Ah,
a
so
nap,
that's
yeah,
why. Okay, now I
yeah,
understand. Nappings are disruptive for you.
yeah. Um,
I have a
I want
friend.
to embrace resting, but I guess I do it with my eyes open. I don't.
Yeah, but that can be a form of rest. I think sometimes people think rest means you're sleeping or taking a nap.
Mm-hmm,
And rest
mm-hmm,
could be that I look at rest as I'm doing things that feed me. I'm doing so feed me, bring me
Like writing
joy,
or
that,
coloring. Mm-hmm.
or just my favorite thing to do right now, and it's very much a summer thing, is I like going outside and looking at my
Gardening.
bees. I like looking at the bees on the flowers because they'll let me get like super up close, and because they're the honeybees. They
Oh,
don't have
okay.
stingers. They're the little chubby little. They're so cute. I just
There's a
love my
difference
little
between
bees.
them and yellow
Yes,
jackets. Yellow jackets are fierce.
yellow jackets don't. I don't mess with yellow jackets. I even have developed a
Mm.
relationship with wasps because they're beneficial to my garden. They eat certain thing, pests and what have you. And
Okay.
wasps won't attack you just because like a yellow jacket will.
Mm.
A yellow jacket will just be like,
I
huh.
haven't been stung, but
A wasp
mm,
is the perceived threat. If they, because I've seen them, because they're peacefully coexisting with the bees on the flowers all the time. So, but
so
when
they're not okay.
yeah, so that just kind of confirms their nature, and they don't attack me. Like I see them a little buzz around mainly because they're like kind of trying to be like, oh, is she a flower? Like, oh no,
Yeah.
she's not. And then they go on about their business. But I think you're right. I think sometimes people think resting means like actually laying down, but it's it's more of doing things that soothe your soul.
Well, just for y'all that are listening, rest is about being alone with self. You cannot rest.
I
Well, you can rest with
sometimes I
another
want to
human
rest.
being. Just
Sometimes
hold
I want
on.
to. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. It's a little different. Colors are a little different. That goes back to being able to do that and have that connection where you can do that and you don't have to say a word. Your expression
Yeah,
with one
yeah.
another is giving, is speaking in and of itself without words.
It's
And
nothing
so
better. Yeah.
you can be together as one
Mm.
in the loneliness, which is more of solitude. It's not loneliness. Let's back that up. That's more of a solitude state, which we haven't really gotten to real quick yet.
Okay, what's the last one in loneliness?
Emptiness,
Emptiness.
emptiness. People feel empty. And
Whew.
that's a whole nother
Girl, I
subject I'm
feel
sure
like
you can
that could
tap
be an
on with your
entire.
expression.
I
Yeah, dollar different
So
subject.
I
Yeah, to
feel
speak on.
like this is going to be a topic that we continue into the next episode because we don't have the time to go into to
Solitude,
the loneliness of what we talked about
emptiness. Yeah,
beforehand,
yeah.
which I think you'll be fine with. So emptiness,
The mind, what you mean with that pandemic area?
yeah, we'll just
Yeah, that's a deep one.
we'll
Yeah.
lean into that one the next episode. Um, and maybe we go into solitude the
Well, we can
following.
tap on it a little bit. I mean, the definition, just for
So
food for
what
thought
are
for y'all to
some of
think
them?
about,
Yeah.
yeah, is about it can be more it can be more empowering. So it's being physically, it said it's being physically alone, but still feeling whole, connected, and purposeful. Because
Whole
you, like you said, you can be
connected.
surrounded by a crowd and still feel lonely, or be
Ooh,
completely alone and feel full. So that's the
okay.
solitude, be completely alone and feel full.
I knew
That's
it.
my
I knew the
dancing
soul
part.
expression. It's the soul connection.
Yes.
And the
Yes, like dancing
loneliness
by
is the
yourself.
ego.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
alone, whole. Because you speak a lot about being in silence and how silence just feeds you in such a way. Um, how does being in solitude connect to that wholeness piece?
It's just like being in a car. It's something about, like I said, the interstate. And then the
I
other day I was just
love how you
walking.
love being in a car because I'm still triggered by it. You should watch that. I'll put a link to the episode where I talk about it's traumatizing for me.
I mean, just this cruising and it's something I'm connected with, and it's just like I just realized that other people, but I've noticed things in the clouds from going way back from images. I just see stuff that's just crazy cool. Especially if it rains or does something. Don't necessarily like me on the rain, but I've embraced it more now. Um, and then I was walking. With an associate, and I hadn't seen a baby chipmunk. I hadn't seen a chipmunk up close, a baby
Oh,
chipmunk. Of course, I've
really?
seen a deer, but to just see them eating and just
They're
this one,
so
it was by
sweet,
itself.
right?
But the chipmunk, I'm like, and then I said to them, I said, you mean it's like Alvin, Alvin and the chipmunk. But y'all don't know who Alvin chipmunk is, just look it up. But it's just stuff like
Wow.
that to come to me. So
I was thinking Chip and Dale.
oh Lord, you're talking about the dancers.
No, you
Oh,
don't remember Chip and Dale?
oh, I do. Maybe I forgot. I don't know. Well, well.
Chipmunks where one of them has a little red nose. Not the dancer.
I can't help it. Okay,
So let's just go back to Alvin and the Chipmunks.
okay, thank
You
you.
are the same color as your shirt right now. So your chipmunk that you saw, I help you to feel whole. No,
Oh,
Chip
it
and
was.
Dale. Are they still a thing?
Oh, I think so.
Have you been to Chip and Dale show?
No, I mean, I like beautiful people, so it don't really matter. So, I even found that other
I
movie
haven't
with
been to a Chip
whatchamacallit
and
in it
Dale.
pretty sexy, but
Oh, which
um,
one? With the
uh,
the 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 Tatum guy, Channing Tatum.
yes, and actor, what's his name? Well, I mean, it was. I
Here's
mean,
my thing, right? Because my mind, I remember, so I watched that movie. I don't even remember
mm,
the name of it. It doesn't matter.
mm,
And I remember thinking like, huh, because as a black person,
mm,
those experiences are quite different when you go and there's like the black dancers, like they are lifting
mm.
you up, flipping you, and like it's very acrobatical. It's more like
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil meets
Okay.
Chippendales,
Okay.
right? I know you've seen them.
Yeah.
So it's very tame. I will say that is what I remember
Yeah.
thinking. I don't know how we got on talking about that,
We
but
did
back to
because
chipmunks.
yeah, so to go through the park and even the one park I went through, just walk. I wasn't gonna do this whole walk because I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it. Not that I couldn't have make it. It's just that I didn't want to be attacked by insects, and I wasn't. So
Oh,
it was good. Yeah, me and they like my blood. I'm just saying, but
spray. You can't do some of the
mm,
sprays, or like
well,
there's a little band
well,
that you can get that emits that scent.
well, it's distracting them from our pheromones. Just like that, I did some more research on mosquitoes too, because I had to
I'm
keep doing
sure you
them.
did.
And they're attracted. They can see dark colors. So they said don't wear dark. So you want to wear white. Even red is not a color that you want to wear at night.
No,
So it's white, pink, the light blues.
ew.
They can't see those. Yeah, I understand.
I don't like any of
But the
those
lighter the
colors.
color, the lighter the colors, the
What
more
about
they can.
yellow?
Yellow is light, so yes, you wear yellow.
Oh,
And then the pants, because see, they sit low. And so loneliness is that they attract to me, okay, when we're walking. If there's somebody else around,
you
they
said
may
lonely
not
and
go
they
to
attract.
them.
They lonely. Yeah.
So I found out a
They're
lot
trying
about
to
them.
connect with you because they're like, ooh, she's a whole being. We must go and connect with her. We must be
Yeah, so I
purposeful
might do
in
some
biting
on
her.
IG about them for to help people out during the summer. Because they go low, they don't like the wind, so they try to go low. and they'll go high if there's no wind and get you in your scalp. So you got to cover everything. I use citronella, a citronella mix, and you have to mix it with a carrier oil. You can get it and spray it and make sure you're covered. And then you're trying to hide your scent, and then they like, oh, blood type and all that. But I was going down one of the parks in the town, and I saw a woodpecker. I wasn't expecting to see him, and even though I couldn't get the picture I wanted, I saw that red little head above, and I knew I hadn't seen one that had been pecking on my house way, way many years ago in my other state that I lived in. And so, and then it was just so cool, and I just connected. And I just seen a woodpecker because you don't necessarily see them, or
Yeah.
chipmunks, like at least not for me anyway. And anything that I see flying, the dragonfly. So when you're walking and seeing these creatures, and then they always have a special message for me. And then, of course, I look at the message. What is that message that I am receiving today to see this? Being haven't saw the eagles in a minute. They're supposed to be at one of our parks here, but I don't go there to just want to see them because they've always been messengers. But I could go and probably not see them, but I like them. I would like seeing them. So you can just find so many things in the world to connect from when we talk about coloring. Oh, I was talking about it's called diamond art. Um, Diamond art, I was showing you, was something to do to create art and to do those things to bring solitude to you, and even give you ideas, creative ideas or business ideas when you're sitting in solitude versus loneliness, for example.
You know,
So
I'm looking at these definitions, right? Loneliness and solitude, because I wrote them down. They're the opposites. So disconnection versus wholeness, abandonment versus connected, emptiness versus purposeful.
purposeful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your ego will seek out the loneliness because your ego is your
Protective
human
measures,
expression,
low vibrational. Yeah.
and your soul is, so you connect to your soul in solitude. And what are some practices? So one that you talked about was going for walks, like walks in nature.
hmm Going for a
Um,
drive if that's your thing.
yeah, you like driving. For me, it's being looking at my bees. I like looking at the bees. I like getting in my garden because the way I have my garden set up, I can like go behind and sit back behind the bed, and I'm like surrounded by my marigolds. And these marigolds are like 6, 7 feet tall. They're like super, super tall. And I can just look up and just see the bees. And right now, you can hear the cicadas, and they just kind of come and go. So it's like the sounds of summer. And then I'm seeing like the bees fly around and the butterflies. And it's just a reminder for me that I find, especially right now, is to be present with the gift of the season. Because, I was thinking about how people have moved on to like, by the time this comes out, I think we'll be like a week away from fall.
Mhm.
But we're still in summer, and people are like, no, fall. And I'm like, no, we're still in summer. And I just
Yeah.
want to enjoy the summer because the bees are not going to be here in the winter time. And that kind of
Yeah.
made me a bit like, oh, so I just want to like enjoy it, and I'm taking the time in, and it makes me feel connected. It helps to re-energize me, especially after sessions, so I can be purposeful and show up and hold the space for people when they're like really in their humanness, and I'm it allows me to connect to my soul tie so that I can hold that space because it's a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't shared this with you,
Mm,
but I lost a client last week. And mm,
yeah.
ooh, it's hard. And solitude has helped me to not run away from being in my purpose because it's so hard being in that space with people. Oh my God, I'm crying on YouTube.
Yeah. Hey.
But it's the solitude that keeps me like tapped into like maintaining a sense of hope and being reminded
Right.
that it's okay.
Well, I feel you, darling. I was just talking about moving back to my hometown and having lost so many people that I didn't really even get to connect with since I've been gone, especially people I went to school with, things of that nature, since a young age, and then just holding the space. I don't know how I did it. How I did it. I went to more funerals than I could that I could name, and but it's okay. It's YouTube. So this the trueness of our expression is how we
It's
show
real.
who we truly are. Yeah. I mean, you asked some of the practical takeaways. One is even though we haven't got into the huge nature of solitude, so you can understand how to stand in that, is to use it, is to take the time with yourself and use it as a creative for creativity and growth, and even ideas come to you that could probably serve others in a way that only you can serve them. Um,
I think we definitely need to continue the conversation about solitude because I
yeah,
feel like it just honors like this the layers of loneliness, quote unquote. Because the loneliness it's like taking the mask off, going back to what you were saying, like you put a
yeah.
mask on. And so we're taking the mask off and we're seeing things for as they stand. So
Yeah, as you continue to awaken, and we're talking about uplifting, there's more mass. There's even mass we didn't even know we had.
yeah, that
Oh my God.
part.
And
Yeah.
then being the person I know that put on masks for, had masks for all the wrong reasons, because it took a while to stand in, who I actually was by other people saying this and that, or trying to make you feel a certain way about being other than what the world say you ought to be, or how you ought to walk, who you ought to be with, and how you ought to love, or connect or be, and then try to condemn you, try to break you, try to even take your means of support from you, you know to try to steal your roof from over your head, based
Yeah.
upon, oh girl.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and even though people might have thought this, it wasn't about them, it's about how I had to learn to stand where some people didn't have that. And then to talk with other people and just understand that we are human beings, regardless to what you think ought to be. And so many people have and who are you to condemn anybody? Let's not talk about the judging part, because that just obviously is something but the condemning. And so you have to understand that when somebody say, "Oh, something wrong with you, you alone, you ain't got nobody, you ain't married." Yeah, who in the hell said I had to get married? And that's a choice,
Mm,
and to come together as one. And who says that you don't know that I haven't chose this, and you don't know what my journey and process is right now? And like you said, the awakening is that process, and to find somebody else who's doing the work, who's aligned with my frequency, who's going to help me elevate as I help them elevate, and we continue to grow, because I don't want to be the same person I was yesterday. And when you're connecting with people who have different backgrounds, who have different that, who are here. Or they said, one guy just mentioned, and they said that if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So I'll leave y'all with that.
I also want to say um, that when we make assumptions that people are alone, because I get that a lot. People make assumptions because they look at me online. They don't think that I'm in a relationship. They don't know my
Hmm.
life like that. And so there's a
Hmm.
lot of assumptions. And it's like, you don't know what people are doing. You don't know what people are going through. And don't be
Hmm.
so quick to make these judgments because
Hmm.
maybe she does have someone that she's in a relationship with. But guess what? She's not in a relationship with you, is the other person, and is the other person that she's in a relationship with. So this we have to stop making assumptions. And I feel like when we make assumptions, it provides an opportunity of a mirror. So everyone hold their mirrors up. What are the assumptions that you're making of loneliness about other people that are really a reflection of how you are feeling into your life? Use that mirror to see the mask and give yourself permission to take the mask off. So, the next episode, we're going to go in, we're going to take the mask off, we're going to talk about solitude, hopefully, provide some tangible integrative practices around solitude to really see the power and the purpose of solitude. So, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for hanging with us. And I didn't even call out the fact that this is our first episode back from our summer break either at the start of this. But be sure
It
to
helped.
give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and share this video. Comment down below. What do you want them to comment down below? Warriors
I
Ardeshir
want them
A'ren.
to comment down below. Loneliness isn't about the absence of people, so it's the absence of presence. So I would like you to what I'd like you to do to talk about, have you ever, what was it like? Have you ever felt lonely in a room full of people? Why do you think that happens? Do you believe loneliness is about absence of people or absence of connection? We kind of got in that. And what practices,
A lot, girl.
okay, I'll leave it with those two. Tell us
One.
yeah, okay. Have you ever felt lonely in a room? And why do you think that has happened for you? How about that?
There we go. Yay. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for being in conversation with me, my fellow warrior. Um, and we hope to see you
Goodbye.
guys in the next video.
All right, much love, y'all. Peace.